big question, but an important one too. And in a way it relates to something I said I wasn't going to have time to talk about, but I'll mention briefly now, which is the differences with apartheid South Africa, similarities and differences. Just to illustrate this point, if I can find it quick enough, I'll bother. This is just a two sentence quotation by a guy who was the editor-in-chief of a South African newspaper in 2008. And he went as part of a delegation to Palestine, Israel. And reflecting on what he'd witnessed there, he said this: "It seems to me that the Israelis would like the Palestinians to disappear. There was never anything like that in our case. The whites did not want the blacks to disappear." And what he's pointing to there is something that observers, analysts have pointed out, which is in the case of apartheid South Africa, there was also a relationship of dependency, economically speaking, between the white minority and the black majority. And how political Zionism developed in Palestine and exists today, there isn't that relationship now. It hasn't always been that simple. For example, post-67, there was a number of years whereby the Palestinians in the West Bank were an exploited labour force as well. But by and large, this is the main difference, in the sense that the Palestinians are horrifically a surplus population. I mean, that's the policy, that's the idea behind the fact that the Gaza Strip is a big prison. 1.5 million Palestinians, we don't want them. This is the idea behind making life unsustainable and untenable in particular areas of the West Bank, particularly those, because it's easier, more isolated communities. The idea behind make Palestinian life in East Jerusalem unsustainable. Perhaps one could say that a small Palestinian presence is tolerated within this particular worldview, but to go back to the settler in Sheikh Jarrah, as long as they accept who's the landlord, right? And that is the very core of the issue, and of course is very unpleasant if you're taking a realistic look at Israeli policies and the context in which they're occurring. Those are the conclusions that you have to draw.